Hello, Andromeda Aqua here, with a little bit of an update. Doubt many people care, to be honest, because no one knows me yet. But yeah, this is my, well, I think it's 65-liter main tank. It's a community right now. It's supposed to be like, as I said in like my last video, it's supposed to be mainly sparkling gourami, blue rams, and dwarf gourami, and then maybe a few odd species of killifish. But I have other fish in here like my golden gourami, glowlight tetras, some other oddballs like some other just random fish like my emperor tetra back there in the background, and a white cloud mountain minnow which is somewhere. Last time I came, or I showed you this tank, I was talking about the Helneri killifish and what. So I talked about the whole accident which happened with the killifish, and it happened again, where the little breeding tub that they were in came loose again, and still don't know whether it's alive or not, but I know that the last killifish escaped, and so did the bigger Constantiae that I'd put in there also. So I just took everything out of that and put them back into the main tank. So the Constantiae are all in here. All the Helneri are in here. I know the big Helneri has gone a little bigger, and he's coloured up a lot more than he used to be. And he actually looks amazing. If he pops up, I'll try find him, but I doubt he will. I should really just remove this already, because it's just there for no reason, and if I try to hatch more killifish in it, I feel like the same thing is probably gonna happen again. Like, what tends to happen is while I'm filling up my tank after a water change, somehow this comes, because it's up against this little edge, so it comes off and it goes down like that, and usually it hangs down this way, and it ends up with the water's crossing over. So the killifish, just because killifish tend to swim around the top of the tank anyways, they just swim across and end up in the other tank. But yeah, that's what's happened so far. There's the big Constantiae male, beautiful fish. Can't wait until the Helneri is starting to look like him, because he'll look amazing. One thing that was quite exciting since the last video update was that my German blue ram pair actually had a breeding attempt, and I'm pretty sure they're both first-time parents, so of course it failed. The egg stayed white, which apparently means that the male failed to fertilize them in the first place. So and they all just say that that's just due to inexperience, and as they grow they'll learn to do things properly. One thing that's kind of weirded me out is that if you saw a little earlier, and if he turns around now, you see that half of his face is black, which is really, really odd. And I've searched it up, and the only one that seemed to make any sense, the only answer that seemed to make any sense, was that someone said that cichlids are like mood rings, which I definitely believe. They're very colourful fish and they change within an instant. but apparently a black face means that they are stressed or they're not getting along with other tank mates. And one theory is also that it might happen just before he's going into breeding mode or breeding environment or attitude or something. I don't know. Just about to breed, which made sense because like a few days ago, the female, which is back there somewhere, was fully in breeding colours. She was nice and plump. She definitely looked ready to breed. Her breeding tube was lowered. And then a few days after that is when his face turned black. So maybe he's about to get ready, or maybe because of the breeding environment, they were definitely both sparring. Maybe he didn't, or like they said, he doesn't get along with a certain tank mate. They didn't get along and he's frustrated somehow. But it's definitely weird. I expected it to at least be gone by now, but his face is still black. And yeah, if anyone can give me an answer to why or how or what I could do to maybe stop it from happening or avoid it, that will be welcome. But yeah, let's talk about the plants, because I'm pretty sure last time I showed this tank, it looked a lot better than it does now. Like right now it's flourishing, honestly, and this is all no fertilization, no CO2. The only difference that I've made between this, or between my first attempts at planted aquariums and this, is that I have the soil as a base substrate, and that seems to have made all the difference. Like everything's growing because of the Akadama, the Alternanthera reniki is really red, or for me, for my standards, redder than I've ever had it. The Ludwigia ovalis, I don't think you can really see it on camera, but it's starting to get a little, go away, it's starting to get a little orange in places. And everything, the limnophilia is just growing like crazy. I cut it at least weekly. The rotala isn't growing as fast as I'd like it, neither is the bacopa. Yeah, it's just actual insane growth. Same with the Zosterifolia. It's just growing like crazy, and everything's just growing so insanely fast in comparison to how I'm used to things growing, and I just love it so much. The carpeting plant, I've totally forgotten what plant it is. I think it's Micranthemum umbrosum, I think, but I actually cannot remember for sure. But it's also growing like crazy. Like when I first bought it, it's just started dying off straight away, and I brought it into this tank with only just a few stems. It was very sparse, like one clump over here, one clump over here, one clump over here, one clump in the middle, and now it's completely filled out all that space. Is still not as thick as I'd want it, so I'm still trimming and propagating it as it grows, but it's just I can't even English. The growth is insane. Right now I've added a little more, if you can see in there, mixed in with the Micranthemum, is Hygrocotyle tripartita, and some of that is old, some of that is grown from leftovers from my old tank, and some of that is like clippings from the ones I bought a few days ago from the Aquatic Design Centre in Balham. And over here I have a Hygrophila pinnatifida, which is in here just to grow out. It's meant for another tank, but it's in here mainly just to grow out. And yeah, I'm just waiting to see anything happen with that. I'm confident that the Tripartita will grow out. And yeah, that's all of the new plants I've added in here. I bought some Amania bonsai. It was labeled as Rotala bonsai by Tropica, but I recognize it as Amania bonsai. And it started getting eaten by snails, so I removed it, which is probably a sign that it's dying. But it was a fresh plant. It was definitely live. That's something that's happened before with my Lobelia cardinalis. I added fresh Lobelia, and then the snails started to eat the fresh ones, and along with the fresh ones, they started to eat the old ones too that they hadn't touched until I'd added the fresh ones, which was just very abnormal. And they were growing too, so I know that they weren't dead plants. So yeah, have all that. I added some Amazon frog bit, which is taking over my beta tank. It's just growing crazily and I love it. I'm mostly saving it for I'm trying to do a black water or an acidic water breeding tank for Apistogramma and hopefully Clownculles in the future. The tank is should be coming on Tuesday. I'm going to do a video about scaping that. And yeah, that's all for the main tank. Get a wide shot of it, and let's move on to this Canary's tank. And for anyone who hasn't watched the last video, I don't know if I mentioned Canary in the last video, but Canary is my betta. He's here in this 12-litre kids tank actually, with a bunch of tetras and an Amano shrimp. There he is. And yeah, I like this shelf idea, this whole idea where like it's almost like the driftwood is the legs and the slate is like the table, and on the back of it I have substrate at the back in which plants are growing. So in here at the back I have some Rotala over to the left, Rotala rotundifolia, and then next to it I have the Amania bonsai, which is not being eaten by snails, even though there are also snails in this tank. So I think the snails in my other tank are just crazy. Some Heterantera zosterifolia in the middle, and then Ludwigia ovalis at the back that I've just put in. So I'm hoping that will spiral forth and fill out that space. Each of these are supposed to like fill out that space, so it's kind of like sectioned off. Have some weeping moss growing out of the middle, and then there's Hygrocotyle tripartita, and I'm hoping that will fill out that space. I'm going to trim it so it doesn't come too much over the slate. It just fills up that little area, makes like a big bush. Same with the other side. Some Liliopsis brasilensis in the middle, or at the front, and then in the middle there, in the middle of everything, I have some Altananthera reneki, and hopefully that will grow very tall. Well, not tall. I'm gonna try and make it bushy. Gonna try and make it very red. I'm gonna try and get a new light, a more powerful light. And so far that's all that's gonna go in there, until I was hoping to put the Hygrophila pinnatifida in there. Originally it was back there where the Hygrocotyle is, but behind it, and the Hygrocotyle was in the front, so the Pensivider would spring up through here, while there was a little bush of Hygrocotyle over there. But the Hygrocotyle in the Tropica pots comes in a very weird shape. It's almost like it's basically like a disc, but Hygrocotyle is like a stem plant, and the stems are very hard and thick, so you couldn't just like break it apart to be stem and root. It's like the stems and the roots are kind of entangled with each other, so you kind of had to plant it as a flat disc. And I'm hoping that it will grow up so I can then take clippings off and grow it out that way and place it in here that way. So yeah, I'm just hoping to see how this turns out, how it grows out. Trim some of these so that they take the shape that I desire, and we'll see in a few months. And the last last thing that I'd want to show you guys is my little greenhouse thing. So in here, some dirty acrylic. Can I put this in here? I have oh, that's growing. I have the rest of the Amania bonsai that was getting eaten, and as well as Rotala rotundifolia. So Amania bonsai, Rotala rotundifolia somewhere over here. I have a whole bunch of Limnophilia, which has been growing out really well, as well as some Bacopa and some Ludwigia. I'm just trying to get things to grow out immersed. I have some remaining floating plants because I have an issue with throwing things away. I have a big issue with throwing things away. I don't like throwing things away, which includes plant leftovers and stuff. And yeah, so I'm just here trying to make things grow out. I have, what else do I have? I have some Crypt Piquetti over there, hoping that will actually do something. It doesn't seem to be doing anything so far. And then I was bored, so I just threw in some of my mum's mint, and that's been growing crazily actually. I brought it in and it was down here, and it's grown all the way up here. It's actually doing better than any of the aquatic plants. Along with that, I brought some spring onions, but those are not doing well, so I'm just going to stick with the mint. Don't know what I plan to do with it. I was just really bored, and experimenting with terrestrial plants seemed interesting, so yeah, we'll just see how the mint turns out, I guess, and how all of these plants decide they're gonna grow out in here. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.